Hey guys, Liz with the Busy Bee here, back with another great crochet video tutorial. Today we'll be working on the very versatile drawstring pouch pattern. We will take our two finished granny squares and turn them into these great little bags here. For the tutorial purposes, I will be working up the pouch with the frog applique, but just know that the pattern and setup is the same for all the different appliques that I offer, meaning that the overall process for the drawstring bags is the same. The only thing that changes is in the applique, which is very customizable and fun. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm set up here. I've went ahead and made the granny squares. If you need help working up the granny squares, the full video tutorial is available on the channel, and I have linked that in the description for you as well, along with all the different types of fun appliques available. Be sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button for the channel, that way you do not miss out on any of the great content headed your way. Okay, so for today's tutorial, we're going to be using a size 4mm crochet hook, or G6. You'll also be needing scissors, your yarn needle, and 2 tones of yarn. For step 1, we will start by placing the 2 granny squares on top of one another so that the wrong sides are facing each other, just like this. Now, with the same colored yarn as the granny squares, we're going to make a slip knot. Then pull the slip knot through the upper left corner chain 2 space of both squares, working with them as if they're one, and make 1 single crochet. So starting that upper left corner chain 2 space of both squares, we're going to pull our slip knot through, then chain 1, and make 1 single crochet into that same space. We will now single crochet around both our squares, making sure to go into both stitches of the squares to single crochet them together. So here we're just going to take 1 stitch from the front square and 1 stitch from the back square and make 1 single crochet into both of these stitches. We're just going to repeat this all down this side. When we get to this bottom chain 2 space here, I like to make 2 single crochet into the space so that we do not have a big gap later on. So here we're going to place 1 single crochet and then go back and place 1 more single crochet into the same space. And once this is done, we're just going to go ahead and keep going with the pattern where we're just single crocheting the squares together, all the way along this bottom edge here as well. Now, just like we did with the last chain 2 space, we're going to make 2 single crochet here as well. So that was one, and now we're going to do one more. And now that that is done, we're going to go ahead and just keep going with the pattern where we single crochet the 2 squares together up this side as well. We will stop single crocheting the 2 squares together when we reach the upper right corner chain 2 space. For step 2, we will be making the top of the pouch where the strings will be placed into later on. To begin, we will chain 2 and double crochet once into the upper right corner chain 2 space of the front granny square only. So make 1 double crochet into the front granny square's chain 2 space. Next, we will double crochet 1 stitch into each of the stitches of the top edge of both granny squares, working with them separately and working around. So here we're just going to place 1 double crochet into each stitch of the top edge of both granny squares. When we reach the next chain 2 space, we are just going to make 1 double crochet. And into this next chain 2 space here as well, make 1 double crochet. Now we're just going to repeat the pattern of making 1 double crochet into each stitch. When we reach the chain 2 space we had started with, we will place 1 double crochet and slip stitch to end the round. For step 3, we will start with the chain 2, and then half double crochet once into the same stitch that we had just made 1 slip stitch into. Now we will chain 2, skip the next stitch, and half double crochet into the next. So skip that next stitch and half double crochet once in the next. Just like this. Now we repeat this pattern starting again with a chain 2 until we reach the original chain 2 space we had started with. When we reach this point, we will slip stitch to end the round. For step 4, we will begin by chaining 2, and then make 1 double crochet into the same stitch that we had just slip stitched into. We will then double crochet 1 stitch into each of the half double crochet stitches. So here is my first half double crochet stitch, and I'm just going to make 1 double crochet into it, and then we're going to double crochet 1 stitch into each of the chain 2 spaces as well, just like that. So now continue on again with this repeating pattern until you reach the original chain 2 space. When we reach the chain 2 space, we will slip stitch to finish off. We will then fasten off, leaving a 5 to 10 inch tail, just like this, and now we will hide the remaining tails. I will speed up the video here for you and meet you back after I finished hiding the tails. Okay, so now I have finished up hiding the tails, and now we are done with the main part of the pouch, and we'll be moving on to crocheting the drawstrings. For step 1, we will start by taking our drawstring colored yarn, here I'll be using dark purple, and make a slip knot. We will then chain 80, and once we are done with the chain of 80, we will fasten off, leaving a 5 to 10 inch tail. We will then repeat this step to make a second string for a total of 2 strings. So we'll begin by chaining 80. I'm going to speed up the video for you here since we are just repeating the pattern for a chain of 80 for the first and then second string, and I will meet you back here after I have both my strings ready. Okay, so now I have both strings, and we'll be moving on to weaving them through the pouch. For step 2, we will begin by taking one of our strings and pulling it through with our hook or hand into the first space on the left side of the pouch. So these are the spaces here, and these are what we're going to use to thread the drawstrings through. So we will begin by taking one of our drawstrings, and we're going to be pulling it through the first space on the left side of the pouch. So right into this space here, we're just going to pull that through. Make sure to leave about half the string dangling, as we will use this half of the string later on. For step 3, we will then continue weaving the string through the front of the pouch in and out of the spaces for the next 9 spaces. For step 4, at this point we will go back to the left side of the bag and repeat the weaving process for the back of the pouch using the tail we had left in step 2 of this process. So this little dangling part here, we're going to weave through the back. And we're going to continue weaving in the next 8 spaces. For step 5, we will then repeat the process from step 2, but starting from the right side rather than the left, for the opposite string side. So taking our next string, we're going to just weave this through the pouch as well, but starting on the right side. So begin by weaving half of our string through the same 10 spaces in the front. Then, taking the second half of the same string, continue to weave in and out in this pattern through the 8 spaces in the back. For step 6, we will then tie a knot using the ends of the string to ensure they won't come undone. Here you can add a bead to the ends of the drawstrings if you wish, instead of tying a knot. Here I'm just going to be using beads, and we're just going to begin by threading the two ends of the strings into the bead. Once this is done, we can go ahead and tie a knot on the bottom to secure the bead in place. Now we can cut off the excess string, and we are done with one side of the drawstrings. We will now repeat the same process for the remaining string ends. And here we have the finished project. I hope you had a great time with this tutorial. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up with all the great and exciting projects. I will link the written pattern shop in the description below for you to check out as well. I would love to see your projects and what you have done, so be sure to find me on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok and tag me there. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!